He will.
Stacy says sometimes my chair makes sounds.
It does make sound. And you're live, by the way. Officially, welcome everybody to this week's Christmas-inspired. Oh, you can't see it. There you go. Cosmic Conversation. It's a little Santa apron thing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'd just like to confirm that we are live. We are live. We are there, and we are recording. Perfect. So if you are new to us, welcome, welcome, and Merry Christmas. I'm next to my absolutely epic, amazing roses. So thank you. You know who you are. Who gave me a brilliant, beautiful day yesterday.
It was her birthday. It was her
Happy
birthday, so she got her flowers.
Thank you. It was actually a really good birthday. Like, I really enjoy spending time by myself. Nice self-time is, you know? It's like, oh yeah, I'm actually good company. Okay, that was a total pause note. I'm Stacy Harder. My mother, Heather Harder, is our extraordinaire who leads us through these cosmic conversations, and I believe they've been happening for around 30 years now. Started in Crown Point, Indiana, in our living room. She's giving me a weird look. So
well, it's not been 30 years. Maybe 20. I don't think it's been 30 years.
I realize Val and I have been friends for 31 years.
And that has nothing to do with the calls and the conversations.
I know, but I was in junior high. Anyways, 25.
Irrelevant point. Move on. Keep it moving. You're losing the audience.
These are designed to
long time.
You know what? That being said, I'm just gonna pass it to my mom because I'll just let her take over.
She's way too happy. Welcome to our people out in the ethers and our wonderful in-house audience. Again, when we started, it was in my living room and we had people sitting around, and we went to online phone connections, and now we're with Zoom, so I can again see your face and experience you. And I hope that if you get a chance that you listen to us online. We're here every Thursday, 6 p.m., even on the holidays. So next week, it's the new year. We'll bring in the new year. We'll commemorate it and set it in our path of desire. Our desires are what literally creates our world. And I think we forgot to put our desires out for 2020. So it was kind of rough. So we're going to make sure we do that for 2021. 2020 is wrapping up. And so one of the things that I want to do tonight is really look at the lessons and appreciate the lessons of 2020 so we don't have to experience it again. If you don't get the lesson, you got to keep going through to get the lessons. You want to make sure we get those lessons. Always the first thing we do is to call in protection, guidance, and truth. It is exceedingly important during this day and age. We get so much information. As Trump has made famous, the fake news term, lots of misinformation. And I actually found a manuscript where I wrote about finding truth 20 years ago. So it's kind of amazing that it's been around that long, and we've been calling in truth, and hopefully collectively we're making a difference in recognizing what truth is, recognizing how truth feels in our body, and then also integrating that truth into our lives, because it's very easy to get sidetracked and get caught in the minutia of information that's coming to us from 80 million different sources. So and there's no ceremony, there's no ritual. Sometimes I say affirmations, sometimes it's intention. Doesn't matter how we do it, it's just important to do it. So right now I'm going to say, we call in divine protection and guidance to keep us on our path of truth and joy and love. And we ask that that path be filled with truth and recognize truth at every level. And anything that is not truth is made apparent and made translucent so that we can tell what is not truth. And those who deliberately bring truth about experience their karmic consequences much faster. And 2021 is going to be a speed year, and it's a year that we want to have instant karma so that we can move through these lessons of our planet very, very quickly. So that's the first order of business. However you want to do it, you're welcome to do it. I have an affirmation that I say, and if you want to copy that, just email me at heather@heatherharder.com, and I'll send you a copy of that. It's also written in every one of my books because it is exceedingly important. And then the second thing we do is just play with the light. We're here as light workers. Working sounds so much more challenging than just light players. So we play in the light, we send the light, we dance in the light, we do all kinds of things. And since this is a very special night, not because it truly was the birth of Jesus, but because people believe it was the birth of Jesus, we celebrate that point of creation, that point of awareness, that point of love being brought into the planet in order to share it in this global family. And so with that, tonight's light is going to be dedicated to reinforcing that unconditional love that was the lesson. I have many, many people who are here to share the light, and they have different purposes, and they get real frustrated because they don't seem to find the success that they want. And it's like, just have patience. You know, Jesus came just to tell people to be nice to each other and share love. He had the best written book that's talked about him all over the globe. He has all those people who talk his message, and he's still not successful. We're still not at a loving place. So, you know, we're all just doing our thing and doing the best we can, and trusting that the divine plan will activate perfectly. So with that, we're just going to imagine ourselves being a point of light. Our core essence is light. Light, love, God all carry the same vibrational frequency. When we tune into that light, when we tune into that unconditional love that is our core essence, we're literally tuning into our God essence. I am not God, but God is within me. God and I journey through this planet together. God is greater than me, but God teaches me how to be greater than I am. And for that, I find joy. So just see that place of light within yourself and see it grow and expand, and then connect with all those of like mind, whether on the call or not on the call, whether on this planet or supporting this planet in other dimensions. Just see this light combining with all the lights of all those who are here to support the Earth's transformation, and see that grow and expand as we move to our center, to our happy place, to our core essence. I see it as like a tube that we step into, where our light goes into the heavens and comes from the heavens and then goes into the earth. So we become this ambassador of light into this planet. We are here to anchor heaven to earth. What a job. So see your light going up into the heavens and down to the earth, just as you connect and become grounded with all that is. And then with the intention, send love and light into the planet. Every cell in, on, and around this planet with light, with love. Every crevice, every tunnel, every vacant space within this earth, fill it with love. Every human being in, on, and around this planet, fill them with love. Every rock, every plant life, every animal form, fill them with love. They're all here doing their job of evolution on this planet. And we send love and light out into the atmosphere. surrounding this planet with our light, with our love. The atmosphere is very important for the well-being of the planet. Much like our skin protects our body, the atmosphere protects the earth. And there are those who are mucking with it, who want to damage it, who want to alter it, who want to destroy it. So we're just going to love it. And then we're going to love all those beings, whatever form they take, that are here working against the well-being of our planet. Free will says humanity, those who've chosen to incarnate on this planet, have the right of way. Everyone and everything else must yield to humanity's desires. So as a representation of humanity, I desire a planet that's healthy and balanced and loved. And anyone and anything that tries to damage it, to change it, to alter it for their own agenda, we want them to get a good, swift karmic kick so that love prevails. And Earth is able to heal and stabilize and move effortlessly, joyfully, and peacefully into that fifth dimension where we recognize that we're all one. The weather patterns are how the Earth finds her balance. So right now, imagine all the weather patterns all around this planet and love them. We have volcanoes and fires and storms and rain and snow and every kind of weather pattern somewhere on this planet. And our job is to love them, not to manipulate or change them. That violates free will on the planet. And we love those who are doing their best to manipulate the Earth. Our job is just to love them. And we do, freely, effortlessly, wholly. We love them. And then everywhere on the planet where there is pollution, which is a density of vibration, we love that place. We just fill that place with our love and light. And everywhere where there's war or hate or violence or greed, we love them. They're working out their own little issues, whether intentionally or unconsciously. We love them, and we love those places. And anyone and everyone on this planet who needs or wants our love, we ask the angels to direct our love to them. Fill them, surround them with love. The mass consciousness is the collective consciousness of this planet. Every thought, action, deed, word, belief you've ever held is held in the mass consciousness. And not only you, but everyone who's ever been on this planet or ever will be on this planet is also a contributor to the mass consciousness. And we're just going to love it. As the mass consciousness of the planet fills with more and more love, more and more light, it shifts the consciousness of the planet. And this night, the night of Christmas Eve, is known for its giving, its gratitude, its love, its gifts. And we want to put that much more love and light into the mass consciousness. And on this planet, there are a lot of businesses and organizations who are having an influence, sometimes accidentally, sometimes intentionally, sometimes for the positive, sometimes for the not so positive. All those influencers, business, corporations, individuals, leaders, all those who impact others, we want to fill with love, fill with light, surround them with love and with light. And in this country, we have just had an election that's still up in the air. There's been many questions about integrity and truth and right. We want to fill every ballot with love so that the authentic ones become apparent. We fill every person who worked the polls, who worked around the polls, who voted with love and light. We want to send love and light to our founding fathers who created a system that is like no other on the planet. It's been filled with the divine intention of free will. We want to fill every candidate who was impacted by the ballots and by the outcome. And the machines who registered, counted, and sometimes manipulated the ballots. We want to fill those machines with love and light. And everyone who's impacted those machines, either for the positive or the not so positive, we want to fill them with love and light as well. Let them feel the consequences of their actions at every level so that truth may prevail. We now have turned our elections over to our elected officials who will make the next determination. We want to fill them with love and light so that wisdom and justice prevail. May our founding fathers' influence be felt in their hearts. May they know what integrity and truth feels like. May they act on their truth. May they continue to create a country that we can all be proud of, that we all have confidence in. And we will keep this love and light going and flooding to them and through them until after all the decisions are made, up to and through the inauguration. We want to see this whole process just be filled with love and light. No anger, no hurt, no manipulation, no excuses, only truth and love and light. And we ask that all the divine forces reinforce that truth and protection and guidance so that our country can continue to be a shining example of divine will being made manifest in a country's intention. That thoughts of greed, personal gain, fear, all those things that keep people out of love and light be filled with love, surrounded with love, and if it be divine will, neutralized with love. Let right and justice prevail. And we'll keep this funnel of love and light continuing to each and every one of them who've chosen to stand as a representation of the government of this country until every moment of discord is dissolved. And finally, we give permission to the angels to use this love and light in any way that serves this planet. Send it to those who are our guardians in the skies. Send it to those who are our guardians in the earth. Send it to those who are guardians on this planet. Send it to all those who need or want guardians. Send it to all those who've come to this planet to be one of the awakeners, to be one of the influencers. Let them all feel the magnitude of the combined love and light. And finally, send it out to the moon and the stars and the sun and all those other bodies in heaven that play such an important role in our world. Then when you're ready, just open your heart to receive the love and light, because the universal law says anything you send out must come back to you. So just open your heart and allow this pouring of love and light to return to you. Let it go through every cell of your body this wondrous Christmas Eve, and let every cell of your body be awakened with the new spirit of love, with the new spirit of light, with the awakening of gratitude that the heavens feel for each one of us who continue to do our job for the planet. Let us all be open to receive our orders and manifest and fulfill them with dignity and grace, with ease, with joy, and with love. Take a deep breath and anchor this energy in you and around you and through you, stabilizing every cell in your body. If there's anything out of alignment, let this love and light bring it back into alignment. If there's any unresolved issues that you don't need to be aware of, then we just neutralize it, release it, let it go. Let leave our body as easy as other waste. Let our hearts be filled with the love, with the light, with the joy of the universe. And when you're ready, just come back to the here and now, continuing this sending out of love and light anytime you think of it, to anyone that needs it, anyone who wants it, anyone who can use it, or anyone you feel compelled to send it to. Just love. And let it shine as brightly as the Christmas lights in this season. And when you're ready, just open your eyes to the here and now. Take a deep breath and anchor the energy. Alicia, you want to share how you feel?
I feel a lot calmer. And the one thing that really sticks in my mind is somebody must really be mad at this area that it would go from 50 degrees to 15 in one day.
Well, this is a very significant area. And for those who aren't online, we're in the Chicago area, the central Midwest of the continent. And I'm told the light workers in this area are here to stabilize the tectonic plate. It's a very important role, and it's why we got it. This area is one of the most polluted in the world because of the steel mills and all the other stuff. It's also got lots of violence and racial tension. We have all those benchmarks of a very low frequency, and we, among many others, are here just to love it and just to lighten it. I was very disappointed when these amazing stars have aligned and I wanted to go out and see it, and you can't even see the skies because there's so much pollution in the air.
I did see it the next night.
Did you see it?
Yes.
Good for you.
I did
Stacy,
see it the next night.
I watched it on YouTube as a live feed from Spain and from different places, but I was never able to see it in my sky. So that's why I got to find those trees. I'm going to find those trees. So, Stacy, any awarenesses? Anybody making comments from online? Any?
Mufiaso. Ay, yeah.
I think you just
Dios.
need to call him something easy. Because it sounds
Um,
like you slaughtered that name.
he had a nice few comments, but I'm a cell in the divine body called God, which I thought was really beautiful.
I love that.
And then there's one, why are some people such assholes? Well, even the divine body has a rectum.
That's funny. Everybody's where they are, and we have to love that as well. If it was everybody in harmony, there wouldn't be a call for the light workers. It's what gives us the job purpose. You know, we have to appreciate there are people going to be functioning at this consciousness and this consciousness and this consciousness and this consciousness, and our job is to sort of help all of them recognize the higher consciousness. But it's not our job to judge them or to condemn them. We just have to honor and respect where they are. I've shared it before, but I love the story. There was a man, Lawrence Kohlberg, who studied moral development in humanity. And he looked at, through his research, he decided there were 6 levels of moral development. The lowest level of moral development was you did what was right because it was rewarded, or you did what was right. You didn't do what was wrong because it was punished. But it was strictly a very physical reward and punishment system. And then it worked up to the highest level of consciousness was sixth level, and that was you did what was right because it was right, even if you got punished, and you didn't do what was wrong, even if you got rewarded. You know, so that people have to work their way through these 6 levels of moral development. And he found that 2s could only learn from 1s. 3s could only learn from 2s. That if a 1 was exposed to a 4, completely didn't relate, couldn't gain anything from those insights. And 5s could only learn from 6s, but 4s couldn't learn from 6s. It was too much beyond them. And so that we each have to constantly be exposed to the next level of conscious development or moral development or whatever you want to call it, because that's all we're able to comprehend. And I think that's what's going on. Social media, as challenging as it is for so many people, are constantly exposing people to the next level of thought process. And we have to trust that part of the divine plan and is the way it's supposed to be. And for me, I accept it. You know, there's a lot of people who think that I'm wacko, and that's their right. I don't mind. Start calling me name and abusing me. Now I am mind, and if you're on Facebook, I'll unfriend you. You don't have the right to abuse me, but you don't have to agree with me. And that's really the mindset that we all need to develop. Everybody has the right to their own belief. Let's all ask no truth, and then we'll all crawl up this level of consciousness in a divine, perfect way. And to shift the consciousness, we don't need everybody. We only need about 10%. So when 10% get into that, not only speaking love and light, but living love and light when everything goes against them, you know, that's the true test.
My lessons.
Yeah, there was a poem that Rudyard Kipling said, the man worthwhile is the man who could smile when everything goes dead wrong. And I think that's a motto. I mean, there's a lot of love and lighters when they're meditating or when they're on calls like this or other places, but when they get out and function in the world and somebody goes against them, that's when you see their ugly side come out, which means they have an ugly side. And as long as you have a side different than the one you show all the time, you got some work to do. Because when you're authentic, when you're truly your divine, perfect self, you don't have sides. You're only one. So we're working our way that way.
Yeah, I still learning how to go in my sovereignty without masks to the degree they want me to wear it. And not reacting out of frustration and I stay in love and light as much as I can, and then I get ticked off. So I'm lucky enough to call my mom as a coach on the daily to make sure that I kind of continue to stay in the love and light.
And using you as an example too, when you call, it's like you want me to take your side. Look how evil this person was. Look how wrong they were. But you're definitely putting forth a side that you want me to take. In a mindset, and this is for everybody who's listening, whenever you think in terms of my side, this is I'm right, they're wrong. Whenever you're seeing the world in sides, know that that's an opportunity of growth, because in truth, we're all one. There's no sides. All of us are on the same side. So when I'm pushing against something because they're on the wrong side, it's because I still have lessons to learn.
Well, and yes, because I see a justice versus injustice and freedoms versus tyranny. And it's, yes.
And so do they, but it's just they have a different perspective of what that is, that freedom and justice and sovereignty. And, so they want the same things you want, but they want it in a different way than what you want, because you have your definition, they have theirs. And when they're pushing your buttons, no, that's a lesson. Whenever you have your emotions triggered, it's because there's a lesson there you need to look at. And if they have an emotion triggered, they have a lesson, but you're not responsible for their lessons. They get to do it their way, and you get to do yours your way. But all those blames and judgments and all those kinds of things are your opportunity for growth. It's like, yay, I get to grow. I'm really pissed off, so yay, I get to grow. It's wonderful.
Aho.
Aho.
Whoa.
So anybody else, anything else out there in the ethers?
I forget we have at least, so our Italian friend who's now in England, Christine, is here. And then Mufioso. I forget, Eastern European, I believe. I forgot which country. Sorry.
Are they asking questions though or anything?
May 1st joined us. I forget.
Oh.
I miss Mayfer. I forget. Mayfer, where are you from? I don't think you're in America either.
I think she's in one of the islands.
Okay. Yes, I think so.
And that is considered America, though, by the way. They are American citizens. They're American territory or something. I think so. I mean, I forget which island she's on, but some of them are American territories.
I didn't realize that. Well, we got our friends joining us.
Good.
It doesn't show me who's on our YouTube, but there's a couple people on YouTube too. So hello.
Yay.
So feel free to, if you want to ask. She's from Venezuela.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
And Central Europe. Okay, Slovenia. Couldn't remember.
Well, I welcome you, and I don't know what time of the day it is for you. So whatever it is, we're wishing everyone a happy holidays, Merry Christmas. And then next week we'll be on for our New Year's. So.
Is that is Thursday New Year's?
New Year's Eve.
Wow.
And then Friday is New Year's Day. And I've always done a noon call on New Year's Day for our predictions for 2021. But as I begin probing 2021, it's like, I don't think I want to tell them this. It's not going to be an easy year. So I'm sort of playing with that.
If you do it, are you going to send a link out?
No, it'll just be on this link.
Okay.
And I can say I'm going to send a link, but somehow I never get those things sent. So
well, I didn't know if it would be the same one or different.
I want an assistant who I can say, send this link out, and I know it's going to get done, because when I think I need to send that link out, and then 3 days later I go, oh, I didn't send that link out, and now it's too late. So, but noon at this link, Stacy can put it in the wherever or say it the link for Zoom in case they want to join. If you're on the Zoom call, I will do a sprinkle for everyone on the call for New Year's Day. So
And just
Stacy,
what's the sprinkle?
give the Zoom number for the call New Year's Eve and New Year's Day in case they want to join us.
Okay, that is 428-733-218. And that's our Zoom number. For Zoom.
And say it
Central
easy.
Time. Say it easy. 428-733-218
Okay,
from Zoom. That's the number to join in if you'd like to join us for Thursday Cosmic Conversations Live.
And there's no password.
In order to get a little, I'll let Mom define Spirit Sprinkle because she doesn't usually like my definitions of it.
We'll just let them come, and if they're here, they can figure out what it is. I'm not going to define it. See, have you seen Alicia that she's beginning to stop arguing with me when I say I'm not going to do it? Yay! We're making progress. Yay!
Yeah, I've become very passive in the last week.
No, you've become much more energetically elevated. Your energy shifted a great deal. I was going to tell you that in a bit. Your energy is very, very serene. It's like a lot of the resistances that you had, you just lay them down.
I feel that way to a lot of degree. And in regards to the mask thing for Stacy, I don't wear one. I just wear a clear shield. It suffices them. Everybody can see me and I can see them.
I didn't have a mask in my purse one day, and so I just took a plastic bag that was in the car and I tied it up my face. And absolutely nobody said anything. Oh, and I took a selfie so I could send it to Stacy and show her my mask. Yeah. But it was nobody said anything.
But she did not cover her nose. Obvious reasons. You can't cover both your mouth and your nose with plastic. Mom is very aware of this, but she'll intentionally. Well, for those of you that are watching and don't necessarily know Mom, she would just tie it around her mouth, so she still could breathe. There's
I recommend everybody watch the Gandhi autobiography, story, movie, whatever, because he was into passive non-resistance, and I love that philosophy. The passive non-resistance. And so that's what I do. I wear the mask, but I wear it across my lips. And I don't cover my nose, and you know, I'm cooperating, but I'm also resisting in my own way. Passive non-resistance. It works. Plus I'm old, so they just act like I'm a senile old lady that doesn't get it. It's one of the benefits of aging. You get a bit more space. One of the things that I think is good to sort of help wrap up, and as I've said many times, 2020 has been the longest 10 years of my life. It's been a very challenging year in lots of ways. And one of the things that is very important when you're wrapping up a challenging lesson is to take the time to identify the lessons that it's given you. Once you identify the lessons of a challenging experience, then you can sort of put it away and it's gone forever. If you know, when you're ending a marriage, you're ending anything that. What was that?
It just switches sometimes. So.
To what?
Sometimes it just.
What?
My screen. I don't know.
Wow. No, you don't hear that noise? No. I'm getting a really bad, loud feedback, and where it's like echoing everything I'm saying. No?
I don't hear that.
Okay, angels. Clear it up. Anyway, it's really helpful to extract all the lessons out of it so you never have to go through it again. And I feel very strongly that's what I want to do with 2020. It's just like get all the lessons so when it's done, we don't have to go through it anymore. And so we can do it collectively, but I do recommend that each person do it individually, that whatever 2020 has taught you, whatever you've experienced, whatever growth you've had is very important to recognize. And if you've been doing what I've asked you to do, which is have a journal so you can write down your awarenesses and your insights, then put them down there for the lessons that 2020 has brought you. Because it really has been a very important opportunity for growth. And Alicia, do you have an awareness of what caused you to sort of surrender or drop off some of your stuff?
I think it was a slow process starting from when I was so sick in March. But I think the major thing is finally realizing, one, I don't have a lot of control.
That's smart.
And there's something way bigger than me out there that is taking care of everything.
Yeah. And that we are all playing in this divine drama that's unfolding, and we have to be at peace with it. We didn't get to write the script, and we don't get to make the edits. We just have to surrender to what is.
Yeah, we'll see about that part when we get that far.
No, it is going to get more challenging. This year did a lot of opening up for some of the dysfunction and some of the corruption and some of the ugliness of humanity. We're going to see a lot more. If you watch some of those YouTube channels, like with the Mrs. Pimple Popper or Dr. Pimple Popper and the ones that open cysts and see all the uckies that come out, that's what 2020 is going to be, or 2021 is going to be. It's just, we popped it, and now we're going to see all the uckies come out.
I could deal with that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm still debating on the final results.
Well, we're not going to know the final results for many, many years. This is not a quick and easy. It's not. It's going to be ongoing.
I'll settle with the results of the election right now.
This is just one result at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking very strongly about going to Washington to play in that demonstration on the 6th. Just help hold the space.
It's not going to my.
There's a lot of people from this area that are going.
Well, if you know of anybody, let me know, because I'd love to ride with someone if I could. I don't want to drive myself if I don't have to. But
I will see if I can get. There's a guy out of Hammond that's got a podcast, and he's arranging carpools. Last I heard.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay.
Because I don't mind driving myself, but because of the time of year, if we get into a storm, it's like, oh, that's not the fun part for me. So, but yeah, I'd love that.
Just for you, those that are watching, there is, can you hear me, by the way?
Not very well. You're too far from the mic.
Is that any better?
A little.
Okay. I don't know why it's not switching to me either, but regardless, there it is. Okay, so that is January 6th. There's going to be a large march in Washington, D.C. It's supposed to be the largest, and it is kind of an all-over efforts also about integrity in our election system, because I believe is that the day the Supreme Court is meeting, or
Not
is
Supreme
it
Court. It's the Senate. The Senate, the Congress is, and the Senate are meeting to determine the outcome of the Electoral College. And in a perfect world, it'll be settled on the 6th. It can go on after that, but in a perfect world, it'll be the 6th. But I think for me, our representatives need to see that people are not apathetic on this. They want integrity at the election, at the polls. And I'm hoping that will do the
Yeah.
job. And then also to let Trump know that he's taken such a beating. And I think it also helps him to feel like, that it hasn't been in vain, because we don't know what the outcome's going to be yet. But being there just to hold the energy certainly doesn't hurt. And if you're not going to be in Washington to hold the energy, wherever you are, to just send prayers for truth and integrity to manifest.
Yeah. So that's the march you're talking about for DC.
Yes.
I just want to.
So it should be interesting.
I find it interesting that Trump's calling it a protest. He has never done that before.
I didn't even know he's calling it anything.
Well, I thought that they were always calling them protests because that's the only way to get together. You can't get together under any other.
He always
reasons.
called them rallies before. This was the first one he's called a protest.
Okay. Well, there's a first for everything, I guess, in this world and day.
Well, as a 60s baby, I've been a part of a lot of demonstrations. So
that's what I tell my kids. They don't get it.
I was in college during the 60s, and we were always having a protest about something. So, and I was the one that went if my hair looked good. If my hair didn't look good, I didn't go. So.
Oh, mother, you're a hoot.
I know. I'm a hoot. Well, anything else? Anybody else have any questions anywhere? Anything that's causing challenges during your life experience? So I can inspire or help? Stacy, so
I kind of do that consistently.
Is anybody asking questions online, or you're going out? I'm not hearing you. I'm going blank. Is she going blank for you too, Alicia?
No, I've been able to hear.
Okay.
So, Mom,
I did hear the echo, though, the feedback.
Oh, good.
Oh. Maybe, Mom, if you take your earphones out and plug them right back in, maybe that will help. That's how things work. Yep.
Done.
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Nope. I can hear you. It's just every once in a while you gap and there's nothing for a bit. So I lose you in little fragments, but in between I can hear you fine.
I feel excited about 2021.
Good. Yay.
But I still have, I'm still learning to do complete surrender and some complete trust.
Yes, you are. It's the joy of the journey.
Yes. And so I definitely can feel the difference when we're in alignment. It's like everything feels right and it's flowy. And I think yesterday was a good example of I was in a pretty good, awesome place. And then I got my buttons pushed at Starbucks. And it was my birthday, so I was probably a little extra. Since I don't know, but they didn't have the sandwich I wanted, and they didn't have the second sandwich I wanted, and then they didn't get the drink right.
Don't go through all that energy. Don't bring all that energy up. The example doesn't require all that detail.
So I'm learning how to keep in that love and light alignment place, even when I guess I'm being yelled at, being
disrespected.
But
when you're sharing that story with all the details, first of all, it brings all that energy back to you. That's why you want to leave the past in the past, living in the now. As you tell that story about where you were when you were having this experience, you bring all that energy up to you again, and you're back living that toxicity, because it is a toxic energy and your body will be impacted by it, as well as projecting it to anyone and everyone who watch this video. So that's why you don't, if something icky happens, let it go. You can tell the lesson from it. You can tell whatever you want to do to resolve it, but don't keep treading, spinning your tires in that energy, because you keep that energy alive. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. It's not good for anybody. And if you have friends who tell you these stories over and over again, just quickly bubble yourself and bubble them, so they're experiencing it, their choice, but you're not taking it in.
And I find there is someone, I've done that before, where I've talked to you right after being around someone, you're like, rah, and I'm like, ah, and it was like, oh yeah, that's right. Bubble your energy is so important, especially I think right now for the holidays. That's probably a really good reminder, because our family is our greatest button pushers. But learning to stay in alignment is such a gift, and it's a lot easier obviously to stay in that alignment when you're in a good mood and people are kind and friendly back. But I do feel that it is getting much more magical, like when you are in that place of just like, oh, do I want this or this? Like, okay, I'll get this. And then the universe is like, oh, wait, no, we want to give you this too. You don't have to make this choice. And so it's like, there is some magical things I think that are really.
When you're in that place, recognize it as soon as possible and recognize it's a choice. Do I want to maintain that, or do I want to surrender to it and choose to be happy, even if what's being sent to me is less than happy? It's a choice.
Something you brought up with me, and there's actually kind of a question. So Mufioso, he said he's been thinking about moving to Bali or Spain or Portugal because this country is so backwards and it feels like he's wasting his life there. Any insights?
What's this country? Which country is he talking about?
Kenya. It's the only country with love in its name. I didn't even know that. But not much love in this country, though, ironically. Mufioso.
All right, first of all, light workers are always put where they're needed, not where they enjoy being necessarily, but they go where they're needed. So he's probably there to anchor that love in that place. So this is his test ground. If there's not much love in the country, then how much can he generate on a daily basis? How can he impact people? When I go to New York and in the good old days when travel was easier, I'd get those cab drivers that were real crusty New York people, and I would literally send them love and count how many minutes it took me to get them to smile. It was my challenge to see, can I melt them and have them smile and be happy? And that's what he can do in that place. Moving is a choice, and you can go anywhere, and each of those countries are lovely in many ways. But if there's a lesson that he has to face, he's going to find that wherever he goes until he learns his lesson. The lesson won't go away. It will just change according to the new surroundings. So make sure he's not just running away from the lessons that are in front of him, but he's literally consciously moving towards something intentional.
That's why I brought it up, because that was one of the things, like being called to LA for many, many years. And it's a very dense energy, and a lot of light workers were called here. And that was before they said they're supposed to.
Also, getting a degree in acting sort of dictates that if you're going to play in that area, you need to be in LA. So, yay.
The world of Hollywood is changing as we know it. So,
and during those periods of change, you can make the biggest impact. It's why during those moments of change, less effort is required to shift the consciousness. So this is when you should be most active within that industry.
Well, it's very limited what's being. I don't know what's happening.
I'm just saying, being aware that in any time of change is when you can have the biggest impact with the least effort. So,
So in that
Mind-
situation, if someone, I just feel like masks are, I can't breathe in them. I start to get panic attack. I can't breathe very well through my nose anyways. I have asthma, which you're not supposed to wear. So I have a really challenging time putting that over my nose physically.
who are you trying to convince right now? Who are you talking to? Because it's like you're trying to convince somebody, and I don't think Alicia cares. Yeah. So why are you sharing that?
Well, if you let me ask, then you'll find out.
But that was I'm wanting you to see how much resistance you're putting into those masks, and that which you resist persists. I don't care about the mask one way or the other. I'm trying to reflect back to you, which you're not taking well, that you're putting a lot of resistance into masks.
I want to actually finish what I was going to say.
Okay, finish what you're going to say.
Truth in that feeling within you, and you want to honor that truth within you and stand in that sovereignty, but then you have a job that's forcing you to go against what feels in your heart. How do you suggest navigating that? That's my question.
I would
think that
you watch the autobiography of Gandhi, or the Gandhi's biography, or whatever that movie was, Gandhi. And look at how he did it. I think it was a lovely model. With what's being said.
Now, Mufioso said, I feel my work here in this country is done. Most of the people I work with and associate with privately are not local anyways. But he did say, no! And he was laughing when you were talking about maybe he's supposed to be there for his lessons or whatever. That's kind of funny. You're reacting to one of the things you were saying.
Well, again, just if he's still getting an emotional hit from it, he's not done. If he's still having an emotional trigger from it, it's not done. When you have finished the lesson for that experience, you'll be in neutrality. If you're not neutral on it, like take it or leave it, if you're not neutral, you're not done. And it's okay, you can move. I mean, it's not saying you have to stay there, but when you move, you're going to get similar lessons because your lesson isn't done. Is my friend and cousin who divorced her husband and then remarried someone, and she says, I'm in the same boat with a new face. And so that's sort of how it goes. If you don't get the lesson, you're going to get the experience again with new players, but you'll get the lesson again. I know. I didn't create the system. I just report on it.
I'm apparently still learning to surrender that.
Doesn't matter. We're all still learning different things. Alicia, what you learning?
I'm not, what am I learning? Other than this, I'm learning the surrender too. I'm learning more to pick my battles, which is really hard for me.
And even if I may be honest, you have, for many years of your life, you had a real sensitive trigger point. You know, things would send you to the edge real quick. Learning how to step back from that edge has been one of the lessons that you've had. And then what you're learning now is that there doesn't be an edge. That, you know, again, a lot of even those choosing your battle, there doesn't ever have to be a battle. You don't have to have any battles. You may have to confront something. You may have to stand up to something, but it doesn't have to be a battle. And your energy is just so much softer, so much more, I don't know. First of all, may I talk about you for a bit? Okay. it's almost like if you've ever whipped butter and it just becomes real gentle and soft. Um, that's how your energy is. It's like that whole edgy, brittle place has gone away. It's you just melted it down and it's just much smoother.
Yeah, I feel that way, and I feel part of the problem, not that it was a problem. I guess what I'm learning is to take more time for myself.
Ah, that's
Because
powerful.
it was all for so many years I was running a business and all that, and that took a lot, way more energy than I wanted to give it, but I couldn't get out of it. So now it's pretty much, for the most part, under control, and still has its little glitches, but it doesn't set me on the edge like it used to.
Yeah. A lot of things in my life, and I still get lots of challenges, but I've learned to ask immediately to make it easy. If this is my lesson, make it easy. I don't have to struggle with it. Just make it easy. And it's amazing the kinds of things that just open up so I can move through that lesson, but easy. I don't have to have the resistance.
I think I kind of had that. I fought it. I think I had the easy years ago, but I fought it because I thought I was doing the right thing.
Well, that's one of humanity's big issues is they don't trust what's easy. They think that it's got to be hard work. They think they've got to put forth a lot of effort. They think that if it's not hard, it's not worthwhile. It's not valuable. And in a spiritual sense, it's just the opposite.
It was more of a moral thing. I mean, I had houses when the market fell in 2008. I had 19 houses, and I fought way too long to keep them out of a bankruptcy. And I should have just let them go. And when I finally let them go, I ended up with almost half of them free and clear. So I should have let them go way before then. Of course, I wouldn't have learned how to get them free and clear, but so, you got your plus and minuses.
Well, just talk about everything being divinely perfect, that you needed those experiences for your lessons. But as a general rule, and this is for all the spiritual light workers, as you go through this test on this planet, and you're going through all kinds of experiences and lessons, but you will go through poverty. You'll lose all your money, whether it's through business or through whatever. You'll lose your health. You have to start from the foundation and build up again. I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I had just gone through this lawsuit that was really just going to bash me to the ground. And I said, this has got to be the bottom. She goes, no, Heather, you haven't lost your health yet. You will lose your health. And I thought, oh, no. I get out of my car. It's winter, so we have lots of ice and snow and stuff. I walk toward my office. I slipped on black ice on the sidewalk, fell down, knocked myself unconscious, have no idea how long I was there unconscious on the sidewalk. I wake up to the paramedics cutting my clothes off me on the sidewalk. And I had crushed my arm and literally was incapacitated for a year because of it. I thought, oh hell, this is losing my health. And so it was quite a profound lesson for me. But you have to go to the bottom so you become much more conscious of how you build it back. But you also have very special lessons at those points along the way, and you develop compassion for everyone else who's going through it. Napoleon Hill, who I've mentioned lots of times, is one of my, sort of mentors on record, and has written many books on the laws of success and Think and Grow Rich and so on. But he is attributed to making more millionaires than anybody on the planet. Yet he himself also went bankrupt 2 or 3 times and lost everything and had to start again. But each time he started again, he did it faster and smoother. So just because you lose everything, that's part of the lessons.
Right. That's what I'm learning. Also part of what I'm learning now, which I guess I should have learned it faster a long time ago because I studied Napoleon Hill a long time ago. Did you go to his World Center?
No, I'd like to, but no.
It used to be in Hammond at Purdue.
At Purdue, yeah.
That's where I took the classes up there.
Yeah. And I looked for the World Center when I was teaching at Purdue, and I couldn't find anything. So apparently it's some little tucked away library, but there's nothing there. I was expecting like the ARE Center in the Virginia Beach for Edgar Casey. I thought there'd be some kind of monumental place for him, but
no,
nothing.
It was in a building south of, well, it was tucked away.
Yeah.
It was kind of back by the Space Center.
So I just love him and read and study him, not just what he said in his books, but how he lived. And that's because you don't hear a lot about him going broke 2-3 times and all the challenge of his life when you just read his words, because he doesn't write that. Other people tell a story, and that's when you learn those things.
I think that was part of my lesson in learning that, because I'm around a lot of investors prior to the quarantine that have a lot of money, and listening to them tell their stories where they had also lost everything in 2008, and it's like, you would have never thought that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what almost gives you credibility. Your mess is your message. So if you haven't had a mess, you don't have a message. So, we come into this planet and create and live in all these messes just so we can go, and, when this happens to you, this is what I did. And we gain our credibility and our authenticity. We are street credibility, and we can help because we've been there. We've walked in those shoes. And that, I think, is very important.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of stories.
We're open. But those are very important. So tell us a story. Would you like to share a story? What's your fun story? What's your biggest story? Your most unique story?
My most unique story is probably the houses, how I ended up with a lot of them free, because a normal person could not have done that.
I'm open. Tell us how you got your houses free.
Well, I had 19 houses when the market fell, and I did loan modifications on all of them. And through bad property managers who did not make the payments, I got behind in the payments. So I filed a Chapter 13, and which was fine with me because all the houses would have been paid off in 5 years, and they would have all been free and clear. But not everybody pays their rent, nor on time, and the trustee didn't like that. So every time somebody would get behind or didn't pay their rent, I'd have to give a house back. And so after probably about 1.5 years, he said, I can't do this anymore. He said, you either have to turn it into a 7 or you just have to drop the whole thing. So I turned it into a 7 and got rid of all that. Well, I didn't know. In the meantime, I had learned to buy mortgage notes. And I didn't know that when I switched the bankruptcy from a 13 to a 7, they had to refund all that money that I had paid in for a year and a half, which was almost $6,000 a month.
Wow.
So that gave me enough money to buy the notes on the houses I have now. And being that I owned the notes, I could just release them and I had no mortgage. So I have,
Wow.
so now if the market falls again, I still have houses.
Wow. How many houses do you have now?
6.
Cool.
Congrats.
I'm impressed.
So
That's a fun story. Thank you for sharing that story.
Sure.
And that to me illustrates creativity and opportunity.
Yes.
And flexibility, because you went in with one thought and then everything shifted and then you had a different one. So those are 3 very important spiritual attributes.
Alicia, this is really cute. So she goes, Mustafio said this. Who is this woman and is her last name Trump?
No, but I have met Trump.
Oh, you have? Where'd you meet him?
Chicago.
And? What was your
At
thought?
at a real estate convention, and that's how I kind of got converted from a Democrat when he started running, because I knew his background, I knew his business background. His kids had the same real estate mentor that I had. So since 2005, I've been hearing about his kids and him. So that was a whole nother shift.
There are no accents.
Nope.
Probably the universe knew you took longer to shift, so they started earlier on you.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I knew, I knew a lot of the fake news when it came out. I knew what the truth was. When he was sued for opening that school, that's not the way it happened. And so, I knew all those inside stories.
Yeah. Yes, and so now we're just always praying for truth and the truth to be known, and anyone and everyone who hides or transforms or manipulates the truth, we want them to become apparent. We want to see that transparency.
Yeah.
Yes, Stacy.
I have a request
Okay.
to read a poem called If by Rudyard Kipling.
That's what okay. So are you going to read it now?
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay.
Okay. So real quick, Rudyard Kipling is one of the best known of the late Victorian poets and storytellers. Of those, he was awarded the Nobel Prize. Or try that again. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907. His political views, which grew a little more toxic as he aged, have long made him critically unpopular. But he's a very famous poet. And this is from 1895. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can't wait and not be tied to waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies or being hated. There we go. Sorry, it went away. What was my last word? Hated, right? Or being hated. Don't give away hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trot for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop, and build them up with the worn out stools or tools. If you can make one heap of your winnings and risk it all in one turn of a pitch and toss. If you lose and start again at the beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will that says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more would be a man, my son.
Beautiful.
I've never heard that
Beautiful.
poem before.
You're kidding.
No. Yeah.
It's been around for a long time.
It's beautiful. It took me a minute to get his writing and understanding it to be able to read it with the flow.
The quote I gave you earlier, the man who worthwhile is the man who could smile when everything goes dead wrong. I looked up that poem while you're reading If, and so let me share that poem with you. We'll have a poetry bash tonight. It's easy enough to be pleasant when life flows by like a song, but the man worthwhile is the one who will smile when everything goes dead wrong. For the test of the heart is trouble, and it always comes with the years, and the smile that is worth the praises of earth is a smile that shines through the tears. It's easy enough to be prudent when nothing tempts you to stray, when without or within no voice of sin is luring your soul away. That it's only a negative virtue until it's tried by fire, and the life that is worth the honor on earth is the one that resists desire. By the cynic, the sad, the fallen, who had no strength for the strife, the world's highway is cumbered today that makes up the sum of life. But the virtue that conquers the passion and the sorrow that hides in a smile is those that are worth the homage on earth, for we find them for but once in a while. So that's the whole poem. The man worthwhile is the man who could smile when everything goes dead wrong. So inspirational.
Lots of hearts.
Yes, and it's true. I mean, our spiritual journey is designed to give us lots of challenges. That's how we grow. That's how we expand. If we didn't have those, this life would not be what it is. So we have to celebrate all the challenges. My mother was from Scotland, and so I have a lot of British flavor in my vocabulary. But those bumps they put in the street that cause you to slow down, in Britain they call those sleeping policemen. And so I sort of see those as the obstacles of life, that we all of our lives have a lot of sleeping policemen in there that cause us to slow down and look and see what we're running over.
Do you know in Japan there is a set, it's, I believe this is going off memory, driving around near Hakone, which is kind of by Mount Fuji area. And in the mountains, they have all these divots for drivers. So when you get tired or if it's too white, like you make sounds, the tires, you can feel it, you know, when you get off the highway. Well, they have designed them to sing songs. So there's this one strip that when you're driving, the sounds are like harmonic and it's playing and it's really cool. I was kind of in awe and it was kind of unexpected. It's like, what is this? It was at the time they were like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you, this is a special thing that they do. And it's kind of fun. But
that's kind of fun. Find a YouTube clip of it and send it to me because I'd like to hear it. And everything is on YouTube.
Right? I know.
Everything is on YouTube.
They might take the truth off. They don't like truth so much. Bless.
Well, I do recommend that comedian that Awaken with JP, his channel, because he talks about current events, but he talks about them in seriousness, but through sarcasm and humor. And they are hysterical to look at the world through his eyes and how in the world he does it. But if you want to laugh, he's good. Alicia, anything else for you? Anything you want?
No, not that I can think of right now.
Okay. Well, I thank you
I'm
very much.
still trying to find time to get a hold of you with my daughter.
And I want to get a hold of you now with real estate, because I'm going to see if I can pick your brain for finding that land in Tennessee. I want woods. I want heavy woods. And so we can
what part of Tennessee?
Over toward Memphis, the southwestern corner. I need to be, well, pre-COVID, I traveled a lot. I don't know what post-COVID is going to look like, but I'd like to be within an hour or two of the airport, of an international airport. And so that's kind of Memphis or Nashville. And Memphis is a lot more of my people are in that area. So, and I'm kind of liking to find some places down there that I can get away from winter with. So we'll talk.
Okay.
We'll talk. All
Okay.
right. Stacy, is there anything that you'd like to share, or anything that you want to say, or do our peanut gallery have anything they want to share before we close off?
And then I have two things. So one is, so what you're saying, Ms. Harder, is the harder life gets, the more potential for growth and beauty there is for us to discover and experience.
And the more it builds our own character. Our character isn't built in the easy times of life, it's built in the challenging times of life. So yes, all the more challenges that we walk through, one, it's the greater test of our soul and our character that we give ourselves. We're not the victim to anything. And the more opportunity we have. The example that if you join the Army, you go through one kind of boot camp and you have certain experiences that build stamina and awareness and whatever else you need to be in the Army. But if you're really, really good, you go into the elite forces and you join the Green Beret or Navy SEALs or whatever other elite forces there are, and you have a more extreme level of boot camp you go through, and you test yourself and things are a lot harder. And you do that because you have proved yourself worthy of that. And same thing with life. None of us are here for the first time in this lifetime. We've been here many, many times. And so the more you want to test and expand yourself, the bigger your role of influence, the more you're going to give yourself bigger shit. So if you're going through lots and lots of shit, congratulations, you're good. You're here for a reason. And I'm here to help remind you of that.
What? And when you're going through your stages, I was like, oh, I did that. I got that stage down. Oh, I got that stage down. So I was like, okay, I feel like 2021 is going to be the first year where it's like, I got this. Like,
well, what I find is never get too smug. That whenever you get too smug, the universe has a way of humbling you. So if you stay humble, and then you don't get whomped quite so hard.
Well, that's the truth. But I also understand that when we surrender to being our own creator, I'm in tears. Gosh, probably on the daily, it feels like.
Well, but you're also learning to stabilize. Being in tears daily is not the divine path. It's because you're still emotionally attached to a lot of things, which is causing the tears. You have to become impersonal. Alicia tonight has talked about being more impersonal in experience. She isn't as attached to it because she trusts that it's working out. When you're really emotionally attached to everything, that shows you're still connected to this earth plane and not the spiritual orientation. So
yeah, but I also feel like it's not by accident.
There are no rights, there are no wrongs. It's your journey, and you just trust your journey, learning to trust. is your opportunity for growth.
Well, and that for me is a huge thing to embody trust. Like I haven't since
Don't bring it up. Don't bring all that old stuff up. Just be in that trust.
in this moment, it is a new experience for me to embody, to feel safety within my own skin.
There you go. And every day that feeling grows and gets more stronger and more obvious and more comfortable. Trust is my new way of living.
Yes.
I am loved and protected. The divine is my guardian, my helper, my friend, who is with me in every situation and makes it easy.
Yes.
Feel the,
And remember,
feel the difference of that energy when you're bringing that energy in rather than bringing something else in. It's all a choice.
Well, and it's the thing is, I feel even talking about that, I feel so much. So it's like your whole body gives it the feelings.
When you start,
yes, and I do
when you start moving into that energy and you start to tell those stories, catch yourself when you start feeling it. Go, ooh, this is not what I want to birth. And you bring in, then start of doing the affirmation like I did of the energy that you do want to birth, because every word you speak is a birthing process. You're bringing forth that energy that you're creating as you're producing it. I know. I know.
I have a question.
I have an
for
answer.
The people on. Well, this is specifically for the.
Okay, I don't get to answer it. All right. So ask your question.
My Cosmic Love. She's one of my tantra goddesses from our school. So I just really appreciate her magicalness. So, question. So again, maybe this is just, I feel there's so much coming up around the divine feminine, divine union, and clarity. Even reading a book earlier, as you know, I was in a lot of tears reading about Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and their connection. And it's a channeled portion, so it just makes me bawl in the beautiful tears of like, what, so much. So I'm curious if you're feeling that there's so much healing within that masculine, feminine, like now that it's here in life, but like open arms and trusting that it's not going to rip out of your soul again. Because I feel like.
All right. You're asking me for my opinion. I'm going to give it to you. And my first opinion is there's no healing. We've never been damaged. We've gone through experiences that have given us certain things. And so it's about coming back into balance. We've been out of balance. I don't believe that we have to heal individually or collectively because we're not broken. We're not ripped apart. We're only allowing ourselves to move back into balance with the divine. I think that whole balance is very important for you. That's why you're feeling it. I don't feel it. I mean, that's not an issue for me. I'm not feeling any kind of bringing in divine masculine and feminine or having my heart ripped out by something. I'm not there. So I don't experience that, but it's not my role. My life is much more balanced that way. I get other lessons and other experiences that I share.
Well, obviously it's definitely in my cellular memory somewhere, because even I mean, just tear up thinking about it when we were at Abydos.
Well, but again, stop living in the past, stay in the present, and recognize that whatever was yesterday is yesterday. You bring it in and recreate it every time you talk about it. So when you have those moments of awareness, but stay in the moment and just affirm, I'm in balance with my masculine and feminine balance. And I think that balance is what we're going through. What I see is the yin yang of life, the masculine, the feminine, the light, the dark, they're all the same process. And it's not that we're going to get to beautiful half moons or, circle cut in half. It's that ebb and flow. And some moments we need to be able to utilize and use this masculine energy. And other moments we need to be able to use the feminine energy. When we're in balance, we have access to both equally, as does the planet. When we've been out of balance, that's what we're bringing back into balance. When we were at one time, we were all feminine. One time we were all masculine. Now we're bringing in balance. Balance is my sacred source.
And I understand what you're saying. But I guess because there is technically no time, we've created that everything is in this moment, but it's aspects. I don't know if it's aspects of your soul or it's aspects of what I came in to agree to heal. But it's not from this lifetime. It's I don't even know exactly. It's just these strong memories and
surrender to it and just allow it to move through you. As soon as you surrender to it, and now that's not a giving up, but as soon as you allow that energy to flow through you and you become the filter, it's done. We don't have to work to make something happen. We just have to allow to have things happen through us. Sort of the cosmic recycling machine. We recycle the energy, and when we're in balance, everything that moves through us has to also be in balance. We're always going to have an up and a down and a black and a white and a what we would label as a good or a bad on this planet. It's free will. You cannot make choices if you don't have all those different choices to choose from. Those are not going to go away. It's that each person living in their own personal state of balance. You mentioned earlier about being in that flow, another word for balance. Alicia talked about surrender and just feeling that everything is okay, another word for balance. There's many ways of expressing it. It's just we'll recognize it within ourselves when we're not resisting or pushing away or judging or fighting it in some way or another. Your soul there's so few things on this planet that can damage your soul, and those can be easily rectified with intention and allowing the universe to work to you and through you. Yeah. Are you reading something somebody's writing or saying or?
Yeah. Well, he was just saying, Mufioso was talking for me, about releasing some of the frozen trauma from the body. And then he just said someone violated my trust and you're still strong, and that's still storing in my body. But your cells are storing that energy field. So it's important to. And then the process has started, but your conscious, rational mind, but the changes are not affected through the alone. That's why positive thinking alone and meditation does not work. It's interesting. Well, yeah, and for me, I feel like my deepest shift in that trauma healing was through my Tantra school, studies and work. That was the most like, whoa, for me.
Well, you'll have experiences on Earth that cause you to move into certain experiences and meet certain people. We heard about Alicia's real estate things that caused her to move in different circles and do different things. That's part of our divine path. Nothing of that is by accident. You've had your experiences that's caused you to go into the Tantra and go into other things and meet people that I haven't met, to do things I haven't done, because that's your journey. Alicia had a completely different path, but it's been perfect for Alicia. And my path has been perfect for me, that's taken me in different directions and do different things. And when you know that your path, good, bad, and indifferent, is perfect for you, that's trust. And my path is perfect for me.
And I do feel at a very deep core place that I am also here to bring back the sacred and sacred sexuality, that we've kind of lost the gift and the beauty of that divine source connection within, that it really is the most magical of all creation. Is
so how I would recommend that you say that in a way that continues on that energetic plane for the earth is not that we forgot it, which is literally severing us from that, but you're here to embody it and embellish that and spread that around the planet so that people remember that lesson. They say the best teachers don't teach us something new, but they remind us what we already knew, rather than affirming a negative. We forgot that, or we broke that. Just affirm the positive that you're here to create.
Well, and yes, because most of us definitely do know it, but we've been programmed from religion to take our power away.
Again, you're affirming something. We've been programmed from religion is another negative statement about a reality that you reinforce when you say it. So better to start from this point.
Okay.
There's forces that help. There's forces that help us forget, but that's not where we need to be now. It's about remembering who we are and why we are. It's a journey. Think in terms of, but every time you're saying something, if it's taking you backwards, it doesn't serve the future. So start from here, and how do you take the vibration forward in a positive way that you find helpful to your mission, to your purpose. And like with Alicia, because those houses, those properties are hers, she has the right to infuse that land, those things, with more light and love than anybody else, because now she's taken dominion over that. So she has a much bigger energetic investment in that property, to call in the people who are most open to the love, the light, and to impact people who, I assume you're renting them out because you have so many, but she could fill those houses with love and light, so that when people move in that, all of their troubles become transparent, so they can see the answer much easier, and they can be filled with the light and love of the universe. Whereas I can't do that to my next door neighbor as easily, because they have the right to live their life. It's a grand world, and it's all divinely perfect. Yay! I need little pom-poms. You come across little pom-poms? I need little pom-poms. We'll have our set of little pom-poms. I've got little stars, but I don't have little pom-poms. No, I want little pom-poms. Little pom-poms. Much more important. All right. I love you all. Any other questions from our peanut gallery?
Any other questions? Mayfor asked me what is the name of the book, and it's the Magdalene Manuscript, and it's The Alchemies of Horus and the Sex Magic of Isis by Tom Kenyon and Jody Sion. But the beginning part is the channeled message.
Okay.
And we went to Egypt. This is very much, you'll see this, but this is, get you see that in person, which is pretty epic. But there's a special woman on the tour that comes with us the last few years, every year. And her and I brought one book. We brought this book. We downloaded one audiobook, which was the same, the Sophia Codes audiobook. And then we were within like 2 pages or 3 pages of the same place. It was pretty fun. So if you go to Egypt with us, you'll have lots of magical gifts of experience that get to come in. But
it's shift consciousness.
Yes.
And we're holding the light that in May 2021, the world will be open enough to allow us to take another group to Egypt. So I'll hold the energy for that. May 2021.
With that being said, because my mother is very good storyteller and also taps in, she'll probably tell no because I'm asking this, but because it's Christmas and because it's a special day to honor what we call the birth of Christ or Jesus, I would love and be honored if you just share maybe one of your favorite stories or quotes about Jesus, because I've learned a lot through you. And this year's the first time I've ever really been even to say the word God so much. The last couple of years, that was not a comfortable word for me. But would you like to share your favorite Jesus story or memory, or why a memory, something to celebrate this beautiful holiday?
Thanks.
I can read my faces so much, so I react a lot.
Well, these are all very personal experiences. I don't even talk to you about them so much because of this same reason. Everything I say to you becomes broadcast, which is not comfortable for me. For 30 years, I've done my spiritual journey myself, and I've had control over what I shared and what I didn't share. And so for everything I'm sharing, I got tons that I'm not sharing. So recognize that. There is a story that's coming to mind, an experience I had, and I will share it. And you'll pay later, not to worry. But early in my journey, I had all kinds of unusual experiences happen to me. And so this was among the many unusual things, but it was the middle of the day. It wasn't like a dream or I was sleeping or in bed or anything. It was the middle of the day, and was very much an inner experience. I didn't see it outside me, but it was in my head, but it was very, very visceral. Stacy the other day asked me to envision lottery tickets numbers, and I agreed to do it. And it was like these numbers would just float in and become aware and be very, very, very tangible, but they would come in different kinds of ways. So it was that kind of experience. It came into me very impactful, but it wasn't from an outside. It was happening in my consciousness. And Jesus came to me, and he didn't say a word. But of course, my first reaction was, oh my gosh, how thrilled and honored I am. And so in my head, I sort of went into my knees, and he goes, get up. He said, humanity's been on their knees too long. He said, it's time to recognize that everyone on this planet has the power that I have. And it was, and immediately my knees just started burning like someone stuck a match to them. They were just, and he said, humility is not making yourself less than someone else. It's understanding that you are as great as everyone else. And I think that's a very important lesson as we move into 2021. We're used to honoring other people, but it's time that we get off our knees and say, there's nobody on this planet better than me. There's nobody on this planet less than me, and really stand in our own authority and authenticity with everyone. That if you meet the president or king or queen, you're not in any way less than or humble than. You're standing in your own power. And with that, he took me on this journey, and I ended up on this huge mountain and looking down this like valley. And as I was looking down, again, no words were being spoken. And I'm looking down this valley, and it was just groups of people began to appear, and just in greater and greater and greater numbers, until like this whole valley was flooded with people. And it's like, what's going on? What is this? Who are they? What's happening? But you're looking at this huge mass. These are the people that you will influence. I'm getting chills as I'm saying this, directly or indirectly, in this lifetime and other lifetimes. And it was absolutely shocking to me. Just at the time it was overwhelming, and literally I had to return at that moment in time. I couldn't continue. But as I look now, I recognize the ripple that we all carry. We all carry that power to influence. Had Stacy been able to stay in her love during her Starbucks experience, she would have impacted that lady who was obviously in pain. Anyone who's in crabby anger or whatever, they're hurting, they're in pain. and she would have impacted others, and so on and so forth. This ripple that we all have the ability to influence the masses is in all of us. And so whether you're in Spain or Bali, and I've been to Bali and it's a fabulous place, that wherever we are, we're putting out that ripple that changes lives. With every word we speak, with every action we take, we're changing lives. When Alicia rents a home to someone, she's changing their lives. If she can also be in that love and light and create that energetic ripple with that home, she's changing lives. And so if someone picks up my books and read it, or tells a friend about the book, or quotes the book, or whatever, that's changing lives. That we forget that we're not here to observe this transition and transformation of the planet. We're here to be a part of it. And it's not by, huge differences, it's by little differences. If I can improve someone's life just a little, I've made a difference. Back in the day, Southwest Airlines used to have seats that faced each other. So when you got on, the first couple rows of seats faced each other. So you sat in like pods of 6 people. And it was easy to have conversations and whatnot. And so on one of these flights, and I was chosen because she had more leg room. And so on one of the flights, I'm on this little pod, and I'm sitting next to this woman who's reading a book that happens to be my book. It's like, she's reading my book. So I said, what do you think of the book? And so she starts giving me a review of the book. And I said, I wrote that book, which started a conversation that everybody got involved with. And one of the men sitting across the way was a lawyer in his, I'd say maybe mid-40s. And as a conversation evolved, I don't remember all the things that went, but one of the things that was talked about was integrity. And I said, well, you don't get integrity at 40 when you're born into it. It's based on every day of your life being in integrity, living, acting on your truth. And it was just a casual conversation. And that was the end of it. Everybody gets off the plane. Well, I get a phone call from this man that he said that conversation changed his life. He recognized he was living with this woman they didn't love, but it was easy. And he was doing this not because he really wanted to do it, but it was easy. So he told me all the things he changed in his life based on that little fragment of a conversation. That when we are in our truth, when we're speaking our truth, when we're living our truth, the little flash that we give that we don't even notice can literally change lives. And not just one life, but one life affects another life, because that's the world. We're all connected. And that's where all of our powers are. And that was what was demonstrated to me by Jesus. And I think it's a lesson for everybody. We're all here to impact the changes of the planet. This year, we began the year, basically we lived the year in isolation, away from others, and we recognized the absence that we felt. Next year, we're going to have the opportunity of moving back into the world. But whether we move back into the world the way we left it, or we move into it with the recognition that my life touches your life, and I'm blessed because of it, and I'd like to think that you feel blessed because of touching my life. So I think those are, sort of the powerful lessons to end with.
And that made me tear up as well. So thank you. There's one question that I actually am a big fan of. It's asked twice, but basically he asked about your birth. So the story about how Stacy was born. And since it's my birthday and then I have it on recording, it would be beautiful to be able to go back and listen to.
First of all, I've written out her story. She has her birth story written out. But I will say that both my children were very intentional. I knew the moment I had conceived, it was a very intentional conception. And I knew immediately that I was pregnant. And it was pretty much, without the details I don't want to share, But when Stacy was born, she was born fully empowered. Um, if you know anything about children at a young age, they don't have any muscle strength in their neck or back. They're sort of little blobs for a while till they get the muscle strength. Stacy, the minute after birth, is picking up her head, looking around like, yep, this is my world. I'm in charge. And she was always an exceedingly controlling child, which probably was the reason why she was given to me, so I could handle her. But she was always very adamant of what was going to be in her world and what wasn't. And so she's been exceedingly independent. I was told that Stacy chose me as a parent because I wouldn't fence her in. I would let her live independently and do the things she needed to do. So I've been blessed by her presence. I just have to keep reminding her sometimes that this lifetime, I'm the mother and you're the child. And so.
You have to remember that sometimes. Sometimes I
Yeah.
do feel like.
Yeah, she wants to tell me what to do and how to do it. It's like, this lifetime, I get to be the mother and you get to be the child. So.
No, if you got an umbrella a few times, you might have why.
Well, it's all perfect. And now she's another year older and another year more beautiful, and she's going to have the life that she desires this year.
I hope so.
Happy birthday to Stacy.
Aho! Thank you. And thank you for that question. I enjoy that. I always enjoy hearing.
I know.
Fun. And you also like, oh yeah, I used to be so, and then I find because it's our teaching and our lessons, you have to lose all that to understand what other people go through. But
we'll trust everything in your life has been divinely perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Like you.
And you can pay that guy for asking that question for you, because that's definitely a question.
That was our friend.
Okay. Alicia, anything you want to ask or say before we sign off?
Nope, not right now. I'm good. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Absolutely, and Happy New Year. And for a lot of people, there's going to be a lot less family involved because of the COVID experiences. So I'm going to read my closing statement, and then we will just sign off in perfect order. We're going to let us close in the beauty of the peace and understanding. Help us stay open to the gentle whispers of the universe and her teachings. Let love keep us warm, safe, and confident. Assist us to remember the gentle way, the compassionate path, the empowered highway, and our commitment to the road of service. Remind us to stay open to the blessings and joy of our sacred journey and all those in the non-physical world who assist us in every way. Until next time, I remain your committed friend and send you loads of love and light and laughter until next we connect. Happy New Year. If you're not doing anything next week, feel free to join us. Same time, same place. And noon on New Year's Day, Central Time, we will be doing a let's look at what's involved. We'll do a Zoom call, this number, on what's coming for 2021.
I would much prefer to move that back an hour because of my time.
I know, but 11, I don't want to.
1 o'clock your time?
We'll do 12 noon. It's been 12 noon all the time.
Okay. And if you want to find, I'm in Pacific time, so I'm in Los Angeles. That's 10 a.m. Los Angeles time. And then also, if you want to get a hold of Heather, it's heather@heatherharder.com is her email. And then also her website is just heatherharder.com. My website is stacyharder.com. You can always kind of reach out to us there. And thank you so much for being who you are and being on this journey together and moving into this unknown in a way we've never experienced before. So may your stomachs be full of food, your hearts be happy, and that you're filled with love and joy. So thank you for listening and being a part of us. Loads of love. And you can always go to rewatch this at YouTube at Stacey Harder. Feel free to like and subscribe and share. All right. I love you. We're going to end live.